शुक्लां भरतरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्वजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யஹம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாவிவ சம்பிரக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே जगदः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्री पार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषनभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടും ഇറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മന്യനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ട തോറോ രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കെന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I think Ugadi, Tamil New Year, wish to everybody. So I was just telling earlier, we'll probably keep this a little short today because we have to. Some of us have to go to the temple. So maybe 1 hour, 15 minutes we'll do. So see, today we are going to review 73, right? 73 and 77. So much, Vijaya, can you do one?
I will do 73.
73, okay.
Yeah.
Matangi, Srividya, can one of you do 77?
Rajesh, na 77 practice பண்ணல ராஜேஷ். நான் கொஞ்சம் தான் படிச்சேன். பராத்னால போன வாட்டி class.
No problem. Okay, we'll do 73 today, Vijay, and then we'll cover 77 next time.
Okay. Okay. Dashakam 73. Bhagavat Mathura Prastara Varnana. Can you hear?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. Vishamayatavat Yanavartam Vrishavartam Pashupala Kimidam Kataniti Maha Samaveta Paridevi Tanya Kurvan Karuna Nidiresha Nanda Sunuhu Katamasmana Visrije Ananyanataha Bhatana Kimudaiva Maiva Masit Masit Iti Tasvat Gatamanasa Vileshuhu Charam
Vilepuhu.
Vilepuhu sorry. Charam Charam Prahare Pratishtamanaha Sahapitra Nijamitra Mandalaisha Paritap Bharam Nitam Binina Shama Shamayishyan Vyamuchis Sakaya Mekam Achiradupayamis Sannidhim vo Bhavita Sadhumayaiva Sangamashrihi Amritam Bhunidhau Nimajya Ishye Dhritamithya Dhritamityashvasita Vadura Karshihi Savishadharam Shayanchayamuchaihi Atiduram Vanitabirishyamanaha Mridutadishi Patayannapanghan Sabalotku Kruratena Nirgato Bhuhu
Vijay, அந்த இடத்துல அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லைன்ல சயாச்ன்ய ஞா சவுண்ட்.
Sayachinya.
சயாச்ன்யா ஞா.
No, Sayachinya. Okay.
சயாச்ன்ய முச்சைஹி.
Uchaihi. Okay.
Okay.
Uchaihi.
And the last word, right? Sabalo krura ratena nirgato bhuhu.
Sabalo krura ratena nirgato bhuhu. Yeah. Okay. Anasa bahulena vallavanam manasa changatota vallabhanam vanamarta mrigam vishanna vriksham samitito yamuna tati mayasi
Samatito. I think you said samitito. Samatito.
Oh, samatito. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Niyamaya nimhajya varini tvam vishyayata ratepi gandhineyah vivasho janikim kim vidham vibhoste nanu chitram tvavalokanam samantat Punareksha nimhajya punyashali purusham tvam paramam bhujangha bhoge arikam bughadham bhujai sfurantam surasiddhau siddhau ghapari surasiddhau ghaparitam आलुलोके ततदा परमात्मा सौख्य सिंधौ विनिमग्न प्रणुवन् प्रकार भेदैः अविलोक्य पुनश्च हर्ष सिंधौ अनुवृत्त्या पुलकावृतो ययौ त्वाम्.
The third line, harsha sindhoho, not thou.
Oh, okay. Harsha sindhoho.
Yeah.
किमु शीतलिमा महान् जले यत् पुलकोऽसाविति चोदितेन तेन अतिहर्षनिरुत्तरेण सार्धम् रतवासी पवनेश पाहि मां त्वम्. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaः.
Very good. Okay. All right, so let's continue. I think we're doing Dasakam 78 today. Shanti, you can be Vasantagaru, you can be student first half, and Srividya, you can be student. Okay. So 78 is two things. Dwaraka Vasa Varnanam. So we saw in 77 how Krishna had relocated everybody to Dwaraka. So it's kind of just giving a quick overview on that. And then Rukminya Sandeshascha. So the message that Rukmini sends. So that is the second portion of this. So stanza 1. Tridasha Vardhaki Vardita Kaushalam Tridasha Datta Samasta Vibhuti Mate Jaladi Madhyagatam Twamabhushayo Navapuram Vapuranchita Rochisha. So we saw how last time, because when Jarasandha was attacking constantly, and then this Yavana was coming, and all of this, Krishna felt like Mathura was situated right in the middle, so he did not have enough protection. So he then overnight moved everybody from Mathura over to Dwaraka, right? So the residents of Dwaraka are where the ex-residents of Mathura. So here, and we talked about how it was about 12 yojanas, or 96 miles in circumference. That was the size of the city, which was built in the middle of the sea, which Vishwakarma helped build overnight. So it just talks about how, because that city is built by Krishna or built for Krishna, that city was kind of incomparable to anything else that was there in that time of the in that time, right? So it was like they had like, talks about it had a lot of tall towers. It was extremely rich. It was very well laid out and all those things. And just like how we all do Graha Pravesham, Krishna also did a Graha Pravesham for Dwaraka, where everybody came. So Indra, Varuna, all of them came, attended that, and then they inaugurated the city, and that now became the new residence for Krishna and all of the Yadavas. So 3 dasha, some of you might have 3 diva. If you have it, just change it to 3 dasha. It means the same thing. It means heaven or gods. So 3 dasha, Vardaki, Vardita, Kaushalam, comma. 3 dasha, Datta, Samasta, Vibhuti Mate, Jaladhi, Madhyagatam, Twamabhushayo, comma. Navapuram, Vapuranchi, Tharochisha. Tridasha Vardhaki Vardhita Kaushalam Tridasha Datta Samasta Vibhuti Mate Jaladhi Madhyagatam Twamabhushayo Navapuram Vapuranchita Rochisha.
त्रिदशवर्धकि वर्धितकौशलं त्रिदशदत्तसमस्तविभूतिमत् जलधिमध्यगतं त्वमभूषयो नवपुरं वपुरञ्चितरोचिषा त्रिदशवर्धकि वर्धितकौशलं त्रिदशदत्तसमस्तविभूतिमत् जलधिमध्यगतं त्वमभूषयो नवपुरं वपुरञ्चितरोचिषा
त्रिदशवर्धकिवर्तितकौशलं त्रिदशदत्तसमस्तविभूतिमत् जलधिमध्यगतं त्वमभूषयो नवपुरं वपुरञ्जितरोचिषा त्रिदशवर्धकिवर्तितकौशलं त्रिदशदत्तसमस्तविभूतिमत् जलधिमध्यगं जलधिमध्यगतं त्वमभूषयो नवपुरं वपुरञ्जितरोचिषा.
That's 2. Dhadushire Vat Bhubhritirevatim Halabhrite Tanayam Vidishasanat Mahitamutsava Ghoshamapupushah Samuditair Muditai Sahayadavaihim. So before we go to Krishna's marriage with Rukmini, we have to take care of Balarama, because Balarama is the elder brother, right? So here it talks about how a marriage of Balarama happened. So it kind of goes back, the story goes that there was a king called Revata who was, very famous, and, he had he commanded a lot of power and everything. So he had a lot of sons, and one of his eldest son was called as Kakudmi. That Kakudmi, then, he had his daughter, he named his daughter Revati. So Kakudmi, he wanted to find the best bride or best groom for his daughter Revati. So because they were so powerful and they had access, he and his daughter Revati went to Brahmaloka. So they went and met with Brahma to say, can you please identify the best groom for my daughter? So at that time, Brahma was in the middle of something. So Kakudmi had to and Revati had to wait for a few minutes of Brahma. And finally, when Brahma was about to meet with him, and then he says, I'm trying to find the best groom for my daughter. So Brahma says, do you realize that in the few moments that you were waiting for me here, 27 Chatur Yugas have already passed away. One Chatur Yuga is 1,000 yugas, like all these Kali Yugas, everything missed. So it says 27 Chatur Yugas have already passed, right? He says, by the time you go back now, right, to your place, none of your people who you thought were eligible are actually going to be eligible anymore. Everything of your entire history, there's no story about you, nothing of yours is existing anymore, because so many thousands and thousands of years have actually been gone while you are just waiting for me for a few weeks here, right? Few minutes here. So he says, however, the time that you are right now, when you go back to Bhulokam, he says there is an amsham of the Lord as Balarama who's actually present there. So he says you go and marry the Revati to Balarama. So at that time they come back to Bhulokam. At that time Krishna and Balarama are there, because that is a time period, that is Dwapara Yugam, that is going on right now. And then that's how he gets married to Balarama here. So that is the story of how Balarama is getting married to Revati. So Dadushi Revata Bhubhriti Revatim, Halabhrite Tanayam Vidhi Shasanat Mahitam Utsava Ghosham Apupushaha, Samuditair Muditaihi, Putta is Muditais Saha Yadavaihi. ददुषिरेवत भूभृतिरेवतीं हलभृते तनयां विदिशासनात् महितमुत्सवघोषमपूपुषः समुदितैर्मुदितैः सह यादवैः
ददुषिरेवत भूभृतिरेवतीं हलभृते तनयां विधिशासनात् महितमुत्सवघोषमपूपुषः समुदितैर्मुदितैः सह यादवैः ददुषिरेवत भूभृतिरेवतीं हलभृते तनयां विधिशासनात् महितमुत्सवघोषमपूपुषः समुदितैर्मुदितैः सह यादवैः.
तदुषिरेवत भूभृतिरेवतीं हलभृते तनयां विदिशासनात् महिदमुत्सवकोशमबूभुषः समुदितैर्मुदितैः सह यादवैः ददुषिरेवत भूभृतिरेवतीं हलभृते तनयां विदिशासनात् महिदमुत्सवकोशमबूभुषः समुदितैर्मुदितैः सह यादवैः.
Stanza 3. अथ विदर्भसुतां खलु रुक्मिणीं प्रणयिनीं त्वयि देव सहोदरः स्वयमदित्सत चेदि महीभुजे स्वतमसा तमसाधुमुपाश्रयन्. So now that Balarama has gotten married, that is out of the way. So now we'll talk about Krishna's, the first marriage that happens for Krishna here. So here, there is a king called Bhishmaka who was in Vidarbha. So that's why Rukmini is also called as Vaidarbi, the princess of Vidarbha. So he had 5 sons and 1 daughter. One of the son was called Rukmi, was the firstborn son, and Rukmini was the daughter. And they had 4 other sons as well. So this king Bhishmaka, he was, like a very pious man. He was a very spiritually advanced person. So because he was spiritually advanced, a lot of the people who came to meet him were also similar, the frame of mind, right? They were very spiritual people. So every time somebody used to come, they used to always talk about this Krishna, who was actually who was in Mathura, who was then moved to Dwaraka, and they used to talk about the greatness of Krishna. So when Rukmini was always growing up, she was constantly hearing about this person called Krishna. So she's never seen Krishna, but she's heard about the good characteristics of Krishna and the greatness of Krishna. So from that itself, Rukmini, decided that, if I'm getting married, Krishna is the person I want to actually get married to. So she decided in her mind without seeing Krishna at all. However, there is this, we saw how Kamsa's father-in-law was Jarasandha. We saw that in 77. So this Kamsa, Jarasandha, Shishupala, who is Krishna's cousin, this Rukmi, who is the brother of Rukmini, they are all kind of one gang. They're all one set of people who hate Krishna, right? That is a common theme amongst them, right? They all hate Krishna. So they kind of, Rukmi decided, he said, what, my sister is going to get married to my best friend, which is Shishupala, who's Krishna's cousin. So that's what Rukmi decides. So Rukmi wants Rukmini to get married to Shishupala, but Rukmini wants to get married to Krishna. So Atha Vidarbha Sutam Khalu Rukminim, Pranayinim Tvai Deva Sahodaraha Swayam Aditsata Chedi Mahibhuje. Chedi, Shishupala was the king of Chedi. Chedi Mahibhuje, Swa Tamasa Tamasadhum Upashrayan. If you want to break at that ma. Atavidarbhasutam khalu rukminim pranahinim tvahi deva sahodaraha swayamadit satachedi mahi bhuje swatamasa tamasadhum upashrayan.
अथ विदर्भसुतां खलु रुक्मिणीं प्रणयिनीं त्वयि देव सहोदरः स्वयमदित्सतचेदिमहि भुजे स्वतमसा तमसाधुमुपाश्रयन् अथ विदर्भसुतां खलु रुक्मिणीं प्रणयिनीं त्वयि देव सहोदरः स्वयमदित्सतचेदिमहि भुजे स्वतमसा तमसाधुमुपाश्रयन्
अधविदर्भसुधां खलु रुक्मिणीं प्रणयिनीं त्वयि देव सहोदरः स्वयमदिश्यदचेदिमहि भुजे स्वतमसा तमसाधुमुपाश्रयन् अधविदर्भसुधां खलु रुक्मिणीं प्रणयिनीं त्वयि देव सहोदरः स्वयमदित्सदचेदिमहि भुजे स्वतमसा तमसाधुमुपाश्रयन्.
That's support. Chiradhrita pranaya tvai balika sapadi kankshita bhanga samakula tava nivedayitum dvijamadishate swakadanam kadananga vinirmitam. So because Rukmini then comes to know, right? So Krishna also knows about Rukmini. He knows that Rukmini actually was extremely intelligent, right? And Krishna knows about Rukmini, and he also, of course, Krishna knows that Rukmini is an incarnation of Mahalakshmi who has now come along with Krishna when Krishna took the avataram. Like we said, anytime Krishna or the Lord descends, he brings his people along. So Krishna also, of course, automatically knows that. And, he's also anyway made his mind that she's the right person. But here, Rukmini, by that be, she was aware of the plan of her brother Rukmi, and that he's actually arranged for a marriage for Rukmini. So that is already decided. So at this time, just like it happens in the movies, so she's analyzing, and in college, when you have to go propose, and sometimes you cannot directly go talk. You send your friend, right, to go and say, hey, tell that person that I love. That's what Rukmini, because she cannot leave town, she calls a Brahmana boy who she trusts, and she actually writes up a message. It's called as Rukmini Sandesham. It's a very famous thing, and we'll talk through what is in the letter. So she writes this Rukmini Sandesham to this Brahmana and says, overnight, I want you to go to Dwaraka and then go somehow meet Krishna and hand this letter over to Krishna. So that is the message that Rukmini is actually sending through right now. So, Chira Dhrita Pranaya Tvai Balika, Sapadi Kankshita Bhanga Samakula Tava Nivedayitum Dvijam Adishate, Swa Kadanam Kadananga Binirmitam. Chiradhrita Pranaya Tvai Balika Sapadi Kankshita Bhanga Samakula Tava Nivedayitum Dvijamadishate Swakadanam Kadananga Vinirmitam.
चिरधृतप्रणया त्वयि बालिका सपदि काङ्क्षितभङ्गसमाकुला तव निवेदयितुं द्विजमादिशत् स्वकदनं कदनङ्गविनिर्मितं चिरधृतप्रणया त्वयि बालिका सपदि काङ्क्षितभङ्गसमाकुला तव निवेदयितुं द्विजमादिशत् स्वकदनं कदनङ्गविनिर्मितम्
चिरत्रिदप्रणया त्वयि बालिका सपदि काङ्क्षितभङ्गसमाकुला तव निवेदयितुं त्वजमादिशत् स्वकथनं कथनङ्गविनिर्मितम् चिरत्रिदप्रणया त्वयि बालिका सपदि काङ्क्षितभङ्गसमाकुला तव निवेदयितुं त्वजमादिशत् स्वकथनं कथनङ्गविनिर्मितम्.
5 and 6, I'll say the meaning together. Dvija sutopi cha turnam upayayau, comma, tava puram hi durasha durasadam, mudamavapa cha sadara pujitaha, comma, sa bhavata bhava tapa hrita swayam. द्विजसुतोऽपि चतुर्नमुपाययौ तव पुरं हि दुराश दुरासदं मुदमवाप च सादरपूजितः स भवतापहृता स्वयम्.
द्विजसुतोऽपि चतुर्नमुपाययौ तव पुरं हि दुराश दुरासदं मुदमवाप च सादरपूजितः स भवतापहृता स्वयं. द्विजसुतोऽपि चतुर्नमुपाययौ तव पुरं हि दुराश दुरासदं मुदमवाप च सादरपूजितः स भवतापहृता स्वयम्.
द्विजसुतोऽपि चतुर्नमुपाययौ तव पुरं हि दुरासदुरासतं मुदमवाप च सादरपूजितः स भवतापहृता स्वयम्. द्विजसुतोऽपि चतुर्नमुपाययौ तव पुरं हि दुरासदुरासतं मुदमवाप च सादरपूजितः स भवतापहृता स्वयम्.
That's a 6. Sacha bhavantamavochat kundine nripasutha खलु राजति रुक्मिणी त्वयि समुत्सुकया निजधीरता रहितया हितया प्रहितोऽस्म्यहम्. So this Brahmin boy, he finally reaches, very quickly he comes, he reaches Dwaraka. And, somehow, because of Krishna's blessings, he was able to get access to Krishna. Because, it's very difficult because such a big kingdom with so many people, right? Somehow to get access to the Krishna is going to be very hard. But somehow because of Krishna's blessings, he was able to get through all of this process, whatever is there. And then he was able to access Krishna. So once Krishna then sees this Brahmana, Krishna welcomes him. And like he does to Sudama, Krishna again, he respects all Brahmins. So he washed his feet and everything. And he asks him, who are you? Where are you coming from? And what message do you have? Right? And tell all these details because he looked like he was a messenger. So at that time, Krishna, the Brahmin then tells that I'm being sent by Rukmini. So she is, one of the princes of Vidarbha. And, she's actually not able to come. Right, but he wants to come, but she's not able to come. So she's actually sent a letter through me, which I want to then let you know because she's deeply in love with you. So she sent a letter for you. So that letter is going to come in the next couple of stanzas. So that's what the Brahmana is telling Krishna. Sacha bhavantam avochata kundine, comma, nripa sutha khalu rajati rukmini, twai samutsukaya nija dhirata, put a plus, rahitaya hitaya prahitosmyaham. That's one word, prahitosmyaham. Sacha bhavantamavochat kundine nripasuta khalu rajati rukmini त्वयि समुत्सुकया निजधीरता रहितया हितया प्रहितोऽस्म्यहम्.
स च भवन्तमवोचत कुण्डिने नृपसुता खलु राजति रुक्मिणी त्वयि समुत्सुकया निजधीरता रहितया हितया प्रहितोऽस्म्यहम् स च भवन्तमवोचत कुण्डिने नृपसुता खलु राजति रुक्मिणी त्वयि समुत्सुकया निजधीरता रहितया हितया प्रहितोऽस्म्यहम्
स च भवन्तमवोचत कुन्तिने नृपसुता खलु राजति रुक्मिणी त्वयि समुत्सुकया निजधीरतारहितया हृदया प्रहितोऽस्म्यहम्.
And the Nijadhiratha is the halfway point. So,
Nijadhirata.
yeah.
Okay. स च भवन्तमवोचत कुन्तिने नृपसुता खलु राजति रुक्मिणी त्वयि समुत्सुकया निजधीरतारहितया हितया प्रहितोऽस्म्यहम्.
7 and 8. 7 and 8 is a letter, so I don't want to break it up. I'll say those two together at 8. Tava hritasmi puraiva gunairaham, comma. Harati mam kila chedi nripodhuna. Ai kripalaya palaya mamiti, comma. Prajagade jagadeka pate thaya. Tava hritasmi puraiva gunairaham. Harati mam kila chedi nripodhuna. Ai kripalaya palaya mamiti prajagade jagade kapate taya.
तव हृतास्मि पुरैव गुणैरहं हरति मां किल चेति नृपोऽधुना अयि कृपालय पालय मामिति प्रजगदे जगदे कपते तया तव हृतास्मि पुरैव गुणैरहं हरति मां किल चेति नृपोऽधुना अयि कृपालय पालय मामिति प्रजगदे जगदे कपते तया
तव कृतास्मि पुरैव गुणैरहं हरति मां किल चेदि नृपोऽधुना अयि कृपालय पालय मामिति प्रजगते जगते कपते धिया तव कृतास्मि पुरैव गुणैरहं हरति मां किल चेदि नृपोऽधुना अयि कृपालय पालय मामिति प्रजगते जगते कपते धिया.
Answer 8. Asharanam yadi mam tvamupekshase sapadi jeevitamev jahamyaham iti gira sutanoratanodbhrisham suhridayam hridayam tavakataram. So 7 and 8, like I said, is the Rukmini Sandesham. Rukmini Sandesham is a very famous thing. Like people have given pravachanam just on that one topic. It is that big, right? But it's a letter only, but you can go on explaining, right? But and the beauty of this is it is like when we send an email asking for any approvals at work, right? You kind of, you have a structure to say, I need this. You kind of call out what you want upfront. Then you kind of say, what are the implications of not doing something, of not getting what you want? And then you kind of give a path to what you can do or how you can get to that, right? So Rukmini writes a very beautiful letter there. So upfront, she talks about, so it's a one page letter, right? So she talks about like, I've heard about Krishna, I've heard about all your qualities, right? And she says, I've heard everything you've done in Vrindavan, I've heard everything you've done in Mathura. And who can be that one person who cannot fall in love with you? It's impossible because everybody will fall in with you, hearing about all the activities and your greatness. She says, I am no different. She says, I've fixed my shameless mind on you, and you are the only one that who compared to, when I compare people in terms of character, in terms of beauty, in terms of lineage, in terms of knowledge, character, everything that I compare, she says there's nobody else that comes to my mind other than you. I feel you are the perfect match for me. So she says, therefore, I've already chosen you as my husband in my mind, and I've already surrendered to you. Right? She says, I don't have any other choice. I've already made up my mind. I've already given my mind to you and I surrendered to you. So you as my husband. She says, however, my brother Rukmi has decided that I need to get married to his friend Shishupala. Right? So it's as if like you are the lion and I am there for you to come and take, but this jackal is kind of some other small animal is kind of come and take me, right? She says, you have to come and help me. And she says, because of all the good things he's done, so she says, tomorrow, and this is happening like the day before the marriage, right? So she says, tomorrow is my marriage. And she says, you have to come and rescue me before my marriage happens. And she says, if you do not rescue me before my marriage happens, she says, I'm going to give up my life because I don't want to marry the Shishupala. So there's no other choice for you. You have to come and rescue me. So that is the implication of you not coming, is I'm going to give up my life. And then she also gives a path of what Krishna needs to do. She says there are going to be a lot of kings who are there because it's going to be well protected. So she says it's very difficult for you to somehow come and rescue me, because it's very difficult. The moment you come, everybody sees you, there's going to be a war. And if the war happens, they're going to get extra precautious. And that means very difficult for me to come out. So she says very clearly, the day of my marriage, I'm going to be going to this Parvati temple to worship. So when I'm coming out from the time, you don't be in the visibility of anybody. You should be hiding so nobody sees you. When I'm coming, she says that is the apt time. That's the perfect time for you to come, and then you grab me, you kidnap me, and then we'll go, right? So she kind of gives Krishna a very clear plan. She says, I'm in love with you. I don't have no other choice, and you are the only one who can come and save me. And here is a plan for you to come and rescue me off, right? So that is the sandesham she gives very beautifully. I know, Minu, you are traveling. You probably, I don't know if there's any நீங்க பாடின பாட்டுல ஏதாவது இந்த ருக்மிணி சந்தேஷத்தை பத்தி, I don't know if you had any songs that you sung or heard about it. If you're able to come off mute. Yeah, okay. I was just curious because it's very famous. I'm curious if somebody made any songs about it, but
it sounds more like, from avatar to avatar, the stories are getting much closer to what we see now, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's because I think some of this, I know not everybody's Tamil. I always remember that Vijay movie, where he kidnaps the ghost. Every time I talk Rukmini is why I'm not kidnapped, that thing happening, that's what reminds me. And incidentally, like yesterday in one of my class, I was going through Dashakam 28 where Lakshmi Swayamvaram was happening. So that was also the same thing when Mahalakshmi comes out of the thing and she's walking around in the garland. She says, who is the best person for me to put this garland on? And she's comparing everybody's character and everybody saying, you have this deficiency, you have this deficiency. She goes on comparing. And finally she says, oh, Narayana, you are like spotless, right? I cannot find a single deficiency in you. So you are the person I need to get married. Anyway, that was slightly different here, but
This is a good homework for me. I will look into a song and get back to you.
sure. So Asharanam yedi mam twamupekshase, sapadi jeevitam eva jahamyaham iti gira sutanor athanod. If you want to break it, there sutanor athanod brisham, suhridayam hridayam tava kataram. So we're hearing that Krishna's heart also, he also felt very, saddened by the message, right? He realized the marriage is tomorrow. So Asharanam yedi mam tvamupekshase sapadi jeevitamev jahamyaham iti gira sutanoratanodbhrisham suhridayam hridayam tava kataram.
అశరణం యది మాం త్వముపేక్షసే సపది జీవితమేవ జహామ్యహం ఇతి గిరా సుతనోరతనోద్భృశం సుహృదయం హృదయం తవ కాతరం. అశరణం యది మాం త్వముపేక్షసే సపది జీవితమేవ జహామ్యహం ఇతి గిరా సుతనోరతనోద్భృశం సుహృదయం హృదయం తవ కాతరం.
अशरणां यदि मां त्वमुपेक्षसे सपदि जीवितमेव जहाम्यहम् इति गिरासुदनोरतनोद्भृशं सुहृदयं हृदयं तव कातरम्. अशरणां यदि मां त्वमुपेक्षसे सपदि जीवितमेव जहाम्यहम् इति गिरासुदनोरतनोद्भृशं सुहृदयं हृदयं तव कातरम्.
That's a name. Akatayastomatainamaye sakhe tadadika mama manmatha vedana nripasamakshamupetya haramyaham tadayitam dayitam asite kshanam. So hearing this message that confidential message that Rukmini had actually said. Like I said earlier, Krishna also felt, that we need to go do something. And then, however, he's very calm. So Krishna then told them, no, don't worry. Just like how Rukmini's mind is fixed on me, he says, my mind is also fixed on her, right? He says, I'm also constantly thinking about Rukmini, and I also want to absolutely get married to Rukmini. So he says, don't worry, because she's completely surrendered herself to me. We will make sure that we go defeat all of those people and get Rukmini back, right? So that is the message Krishna is now telling. Akathayas tvam athaina maye, if you want to break it. Tvam athaina maye sakhe, comma, tadadika mama manmatha vedana, nripa samaksham upetya haramyaham, comma, tadayi tam dayitam asitekshana, if you want to break it. Akatayastvamathayina maye sakhe tadadhika mama manmatha vedana nripasamaksham haramyaham tadayitam dayitam asitekshana.
Akathayastvamathayina maye sakhe tadadhika mama manmatha vedana nrupasamaksham haramyaham tadayitam dayitam asitekshana. Akathayastvamathayina maye sakhe tadadhika mama manmatha vedana nrupasamaksham haramyaham tadayitam dayitam asitekshana.
अकथयस्त्वमथैन मये सखे तदितका मम मन्मथवेदना नृपसमक्षमुपेत्य हराम्यहं तदयितां दयितामसि ते क्षणाम्.
Second line la tadadhika. Tadadhika mama.
Tadadhika.
Yeah.
Okay. अकथयस्त्वमथैन मये सखे तदधिका मम मन्मथवेदना नृपसमक्षमुपेत्य हराम्यहं तदयितां दयितामसि ते क्षणाम्.
That's it then. Pramuditena chatena samam tadha ratagato lagukundina me ivan gurumarut puranayaka me bhavan vitanutam tanutam nikila padham. So because Krishna knew next day is the marriage, so he knew when the muhurtam was going to be, and he kind of figured out that they need to leave overnight so that they can actually reach Vidarbha in the morning. So he then instructs and they all plan. So along with Krishna, Balarama, along with a few of them, decide to, along with the Brahmin, they decide to then leave Dwaraka and then go to Kundina, where the marriage is going to be happening. So with that, this Dasakam comes to an end. Pramuditena cha tena samam tada, comma, ratha gato lagu kundinam eivan, guru marut pura nayaka me bhavan, comma, vithanutam tanutam nikhilapadam. प्रमुदितेन च तेन समं तथा रथगतो लघुकुण्डिनमेयिवान् गुरुमरुत्पुरनायक मे भवान् वितनुतां तनुतां निखिलापदाम्.
प्रमुदितेन च तेन समं तदा रथगतो लघुकुण्डिनमेयिवान् गुरुमरुत्पुरनायक मे भवान् वितनुतां तनुतामिखिलापदाम्. प्रमुदितेन च तेन समं तदा रथगतो लघुकुण्डिनमेयिवान् गुरुमरुत्पुरनायक मे भवान् वितनुतां तनुतामिखिलापदाम्.
प्रमुदितेन च तेन समं तथा रथगतो लघुकुण्डिनमेयिवान् गुरुमरुत्पुरनायक मे भवान् विधनुतां तनुतां निखिलात्पदाम्. प्रमुदितेन च तेन समं तथा रथगतो लघुकुण्डिनमेयिवान् गुरुमरुत्पुरनायक मे भवान् विधनुतां धनुतां निखिलापदाम्. श्री कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे.
Complete 78. We'll switch. So Ram, you can be a student, and Shanti, you can be a student. So we saw 79, we've already seen Rukmini Swayamvaram. 80 is the Samantaka, where, he gets married to Satyabhama, all of the Jambavati, all of that. And then there's the Naraka, and then all other marriages also. And then the Narakasura, all of that happens in 81. So we'll go to 82. So 82 is a little bit loaded with stories. It's called Bana Yuddham and Riga Moksha. So two primary stories. So fight with Bana and then the liberation of Nriga. Liberation of Nriga only comes as one stanza, but the rest of the stuff is the leading up to the Bana Sura. So this one has a couple of tune changes and everything there. So stanza 1. Pradyumno Raukmineyah Sakalu Tavakala Shambarenahritastam Hatva Ratya Sahapto Nijapura Maharat Rukmi Kanyam Chadhanyam Tatputro Tani Ruddho Gunanidhiravahat Rochanam Rukmi Pautrim Tatrodvahe Gatastvam Yavadi Musalina Rukmyapi Dhyuta Vairat. So in one stanza, Bhatripad is like they show in the movies. Krishna is having a son, Krishna is also having a grandson. Both of it is happening in one stanza because it's kind of all condensed into one stanza. But so we saw that Rukmini, Swayamvaram, all of that has happened. Krishna, Rukmini get married, and several years pass by. And to Krishna and Rukmini is actually first a son is born called as Pradyumna. So this Pradyumna, when he's actually born, in the 6th day of Pradyumna getting born, when he's a six-day-old baby, a demon, an asura called as Sambara, took him away. So, just told him, and he actually threw him in the sea, actually. He took him and he threw him in the sea, the baby in the sea. I don't know why that happened, but he threw him in the sea. However, because it's Krishna's son, right, Pradyumna, things have to happen. So what happens is a giant fish ends up swallowing that baby. A fisherman catches that fish, takes it to the kitchen, and the kitchen ends up being the kitchen of Sambara itself. And there, the cook, a lady called Mayavati, is cutting open the fish. When she cuts open the fish, the baby is still there. Okay, so this is the story. The baby is still there. Now, what happens is, if you all remember the story of Kamadeva, right? When Kamadeva went and tried to disrupt Shiva's penance, so Shiva opened his third eye and Kamadeva got burnt. And when Kamadeva got burnt, he then, after he lost his body, he then went and said that I need, please forgive me and all that, because his wife at that time, Rati is now widowed. So the Shiva blesses, don't worry, you Rati, you will be born again. And this Kamadeva is going to be born again, and you both will meet, and you both will get married, and you both will come back. That's the backstory. So this Mayavati, who's there, who is the cook in the kitchen of Sambara, who rescues this baby, and she says, poor baby, right? So she decides to take care of that baby, and she, without anybody's knowledge, the baby is beginning to grow. At some point, what happens is Narada then comes. Because Narada is required to tell people the backstories. Nobody knows what happened in their previous Janma. Narada always has to come and tell people that. So Narada comes and tells this Mayavati that you are Rati reborn. And this baby, this baby is not yet called Pradyumna. This baby who is born is nothing but your previous husband Kamadeva being reborn now. So you are actually taking care of your ex-husband here, and you both are born. Of course, neither of you know that. So he says you both will have to get married, because eventually you'll both go back, right? Because you are taken this income, your birth is taken here for you both to get married. So that is, so Pradyumna is being born. Kamadeva is being born as Pradyumna here. So anyway, so Rati, Mayavati understands this. So now she's now in love with this baby who she's raising, right? And finally, but however, they're all with Sambara, right? So they have to get rid of Sambara. And it's a long story that goes. Sambara is very powerful, but because Mayavati knows all the details about Sambara, she somehow tells Pradyumna. At some point, when Pradyumna becomes older, I don't know what age, he kills Sambara, right? So now, after this, then Narada also tells Pradyumna and Mayavati that this is nobody other than the son of Krishna and Rukmini. So you have to go back to Dwaraka. So Mayavati somehow, she has through aerial route, she says, they go to Dwaraka. When they go to Dwaraka, and when Pradyumna steps out, when he gets down, everybody thinks this is like duplicate Krishna. He looks exactly like Krishna. It's same color and, features are all exactly the same. So when they all enter the Antapuram right now, now this is going to create a lot of confusion, right? Because somebody suddenly walks in and they look exactly like Krishna. So that's going to raise a lot of questions. And Krishna telling it's my son alone is not going to help. So Krishna tells Narada, you only come and explain the whole story. So again, Narada comes and he explains the whole story of what has happened. And finally, people say, this is the son which I lost when the son was 6 days old, right? And finally, he's come back, right? So Rukmini and everybody realizes that. So that is the story of Pradyumna and the thing Mayavati who gets married. Thing. And then Pradyumna then goes on to marry Rukmavati, who is Rukmini is Pradyumna's mother. Rukmi, remember the one who stopped Rukmini's marriage? His daughter is Rukmavati. So he marries his mama's daughter, right? So he also marries Rukmavati. And to them is born Aniruddha, who is the grandson of Krishna, right? To Pradyumna and Rukmavati is born Aniruddha. So that's the kind of all of that story that is happening here. And during that Aniruddha's marriage, Balarama kills Rukmi finally. Because if you remember when Rukmi, when they first captured in the 79th Dasakam, when Krishna Swayamvaram was happening, Rukmi follows them. And Krishna and Balarama catch Rukmi. And they're about to kill. So at that time, Rukmini says, please save my brother right now, right? And Krishna says, sure, I won't do anything to your brother, right? So they let him go. So that Rukmi again continues to create problems. And after all these years, finally at Aniruddha's marriage, Balarama gets rid of Rukmi.
Rajesh, Rukmi and Rukmangadan are same?
Rukmi and
Rukmangadan?
Rukmangadan. I've not heard that name,
Oh, Rukmangadan. Yeah. Okay.
Rukmangadan, I have not heard. Rukmavati is Rukmi's daughter. Okay.
Maybe Rukmi is Rukmangadan in Tamil. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know about that name. I've not heard that name. So.
Okay.
So anyway, all of that is bundled into this one stanza, right? So Pradyumno Raukmineyaha, Sa Khalu Tava Kala Shambare Nahritastam, Hatva Ratya Sahapto Nijapuram Aharad Rukmi Kanyam Cha Dhanyam. So those entire line is together. Pradyumno Raukmineyaha Sakhalu Tava Kala Shambare Nahritastam Hatva Ratya Sahapto Nijapuram Aharat Rukmi Kanyam Cha Dhanyam.
Pradyumno Rukmineyah Sakhalu Tava Kala Shambarenahritastam Hatva Ratya Sahapto Nijapuramaharat Rukmi Kanyam Cha Dhanyam. Pradyumno Rukmineyah Sakhalu Tava Kala Shambarenahritastam Hatva Ratya Sahapto Nijapuramaharat Rukmi Kanyam Cha Dhanyam.
प्रत्युम्नो रौक्मिणेयः सकलु तव कला सम्बरेणाहृदस्तं हत्वा रत्या सहाप्तो निजपुरम् अहरत् रुक्मिकन्यां च धन्याम् प्रत्युम्नो रौक्मिणेयः सकलु तव कला सम्बरेणाहृदस्तं हत्वा रत्या सहाप्तो निजपुरम् अहरत् रुक्मिकन्यां च धन्याम्.
Tat Putro Thani Ruddho. So that's Tat Putro Athani Ruddho, but it will come together. Tat Putro Thani Ruddho, Guna Nidhir Avahad Rochanam Rukmi Pautrim, Tatrod Vahe Gatastvam Nyavadhi Musalina, Rukmyapi Dhyuta Vairat. Tatputro Tani Ruddho Gunanidhiravahad Rochanam Rukmi Pautrim Tatrod Vahe Gatastvam Nyavadi Musalina Rukmyapi Dhyuta Vairat.
Tatputro Dhani Ruddho Gunanidhiravahat Rochanam Rukmi Pautrim Tatrodvahe Gatastvam Nyavadhi Musalina Rukmyapi Dhyuta Vairat. Tatputro Dhani Ruddho Gunanidhiravahat Rochanam Rukmi Pautrim Tatrodvahe Gatastvam Nyavadhi Musalina रुक्म्यपि द्यूतवैरात्
तत्पुत्रो धानिरुद्धो गुणनिधिरवहत् रोचनां रुक्मिपौत्रीं तत्रोद्वाहे कतस्त्वं न्यवधिमुसलिना रुक्म्यभीद्यूतवैरात् तत्पुत्रो धानिरुद्धो गुणनिधिरवहत् रोचनां रुक्मिपौत्रीं तत्रोद्वाहे कतस्त्वं न्यवधिमुसलिना रुक्म्यभीद्यूतवैरात्.
And then the third line, tat putro tha niruddho. Da sound I'm hearing is tha. Tat putro tha niruddho. Okay. Stanza 2. बाणस्य सा बलिसुतस्य सहस्रबाहोः माहेश्वरस्य महिता दुहिता किलोषा त्वत्पौत्रमेनमनिरुद्धमदृष्टपूर्वं स्वप्नेऽनुभूय भगवन् विरहातुराभूत्. So completely another story starting, another long thing. So Mahabali, who came in Vamana Avataram, he was there also for Kurma Avataram. So they all live for a really long time, because the Bali then ends up going to Patala and then he becomes the next Indra and all that, the next Manu. So this Mahabali had 100 sons or something, and one of the sons was somebody called as Bana Asura, because he was a bad guy. So Bana is his name. So this Bana, however, was a big devotee of Shiva, to such an extent that the Devas used to be his servants, because he was that close to Shiva. Bana was that close to Shiva. And one time, when Shiva was doing his Tandavam, when Shiva was doing the dance, this Bana had thousands of arms, or some large number of arms. So Bana played the music for Shiva when he was doing the Tandava. So Shiva felt so obligated to him, said, "What do you want? Right? I can do anything you want." So Bana says, "I want you to be the guardian of my kingdom, so nobody can attack me." So he says, "Shiva, you have to be in the front as a guardian, so nobody will attack my kingdom." And Shiva is Ashutoshi. He says, "Whatever you want." So Shiva says, "Okay, I'll be the guardian." When if it says Shiva, means he and his Bhutaganas, they'll be the guardians of Bana's kingdom. Now this Bana has a daughter called as Usha. So this Usha, one day she sees, and Bana and Usha have access to Shiva and Parvati, right? That's how big they are. So one day when she sees Shiva and Parvati together, so this Usha says, "You know what? I also feel like getting married. I also feel like getting married." And she reaches to Parvati and says, "How do I know who I'm going to fall in love with? Who am I going to get married?" So Parvati says, "You go through this procedure. On one day, on this 12th day or something like that of a particular day, in your dream, that person is going to come. So that's the person you're going to get married." But Usha says, "Okay." So she now, on when that particular day happens, she then gets a dream. And she gets a dream. In that dream, she sees a person. And once that person she sees, she immediately falls in love with that person, and she cannot get away from that, right? She's constantly thinking about that person right now. We'll see who that is and what happens in the next stanza. So, Banasya sa bali sutasya sahasra bhahoho. So, there's a visarga there, bhahoho, put a visarga, comma. Next line on top of Maheshwarasya, there is a ir that goes away. Maheshwarasya mahita duhita kilosha. Twat pautram enam. I'm going to break this into multiple things. Twat pautram enam aniruddham adrishta purvam. So here it's already revealing that she's seeing Aniruddha, but that's okay. Twat pautram enam aniruddham adrishta purvam, comma. Swapnenubhuya bhagavan virahaturabhut. बाणस्य सा बलिसुतस्य सहस्रबाहोः माहेश्वरस्य महिता दुहिता किलोषा त्वत्पौत्रमेनमनिरुद्धमदृष्टपूर्वं स्वप्नेऽनुभूय भगवन् विरहातुराभूत्.
बाणस्य सा बलिसुतस्य सहस्रबाहोः माहेश्वरस्य महिता दुहिता किलोषा त्वत्पौत्रमेनमनिरुद्धमदृष्टपूर्वं स्वप्ने अनुभूय भगवन् विरहातुराभूत्. बाणस्य सा बलिसुतस्य सहस्रबाहोः माहेश्वरस्य महिता दुहिता किलोषा त्वत्पौत्रमेनमनिरुद्धमदृष्टपूर्वं स्वप्नेऽनुभूय भगवन् विरहातुराभूत्.
बाणस्य सा बलिसुदस्य सहस्रबाहोः माहेश्वरस्य महिता दुहिता किलोषा त्वत्पौत्रमेनम् अनिरुद्धम् अदृष्टपूर्वं स्वप्नेऽनुभूय भगवन् विरहादुराभूत् बाणस्य सा बलिसुदस्य सहस्रबाहोः माहेश्वरस्य महिता दुहिता किलोषा त्वत्पौत्रमेनम् अनिरुद्धम् अदृष्टपूर्वं स्वप्नेऽनुभूय भगवन् विरहादुराभूत्.
Stanza 3. Yogin yativa kushala khalu chitralekha tasya sakhi vilikhati taruna nasheshan tatra niruddha mushaya viditam nishayam aneshta yoga balato bhavato niketat. So when she gets this dream and she's not able to get, stop thinking about this person. So she sees Aniruddha in the dreams, right? So she's not, but she doesn't know who it is. So she's constantly thinking about it. So because she's a very famous princess, she has a lot of companions. So they say, what happened? She says, I have a dream. I need to know who this person is. So she had a friend called Chitralekha. From the name itself, it is because that person can draw whatever you can tell, like the police people can draw, right? So this she goes and tells the description of this person. And when she does, Chitralekha then draws this person. And then she draws various gods, Gandharvas, and everything. And she says, she's giving a general description. So Chitralekha thinks of the people she knows because she thinks if it's come in her mind, it has to be somebody famous. So she draws all these demigods as pictures. She keeps saying no, 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 and everything. So finally, she comes to the humans, and there she draws a lot of other people. She draws Krishna's picture, and she's like kind of coming. And then she draws Pradyumna's picture. When the moment she draws Pradyumna's picture, she's like, okay, it's getting closer. And then she goes to the next level. She draws Aniruddha's picture. When she draws Aniruddha, Usha says, this is the person. This is exactly the person who came in my dream, and I want to marry him. So now, because they're so famous and they're capable, even this Chitralekha and Usha, it says they are able to fly over to Dwaraka and then bring over Aniruddha. So they abduct Aniruddha and then come and give it to Usha because they're so famous, they're so strong, right? So they somehow had all these powers where Chitralekha went in and literally grabbed Aniruddha and came and gave it to Usha and said, here is the person you've been dreaming of, right? You got the person you love. That's what is happening so far. So Yogin Yativa Kushala Khalu Chitralekha, comma, Tasyaha, put is Tasya Sakhi Vilikhati Taruna Nasheshan Tatra Niruddham. So Tatra Aniruddham. Tatra Niruddham Ushaya Viditam Nishaya you have. You're going to put a plus and say the next line together. The easy way to say that is put a im at the end of that line. Nishayam, put a plus. Aneshta Yoga Balato Bhavato Niketat. So third and fourth line together. Yogin Nyativa Kushala Khalu Chitra Lekha Tasya Saki Vilikhati Taruna Nasheshan Tatra Niruddha Mushaya Viditam Nishayam Aneshta Yoga Balato Bhavato Niketat.
Yogin yativa kushala khalu chitralekha tasya sakhi vilikhati taruna nasheshan tatra niruddhamushaya viditam nishayama yoga balato bhavato niketat. Yogin yativa kushala khalu chitralekha tasya sakhi vilikhati taruna nasheshan Tatra niruddhamushaya viditam nishayamaneshtyoga balato bhavato niketat.
योगिन् यतीव कुशला खलु चित्रलेखा तस्या सखी विलिखति तरुणानशेषान् तत्रानिरुद्धम् उषया विदितं निशायामानेष्टयोगफलदो भवतो निकेतात् योगिन् यतीव कुशला खलु चित्रलेखा तस्या सखी विलिखति तरुणानशेषान् तत्रानिरुद्धम् उषया विदितं निशायामानेष्टयोगबलदो भवतो निकेतात्.
Stanza 4. Kanyapure dayitaya sukamaраmantam chainam katanchana babandhushi sharva bandhau Srinaradokta tadudanta duranta roshaihi Tvam tasya shonitapuram yadubhir nyarundhaha. So now once Aniruddha is now brought to the chambers of Usha, so Aniruddha also falls in love with her, right? And then he remains in her in the palace of Usha for several days without anybody noticing. Only this Chitralekha knew, Usha knows, and Aniruddha knows. But somehow these other women who are there, they start seeing a change in Usha's behavior, because she's in love with a person, so naturally her behavior changes, and they go complain to Bana. The Bana then comes, like it happens in the movie. Same thing happened. Bana comes. He says some guy is there, right? And then he then holds Aniruddha in arrest. So they both fight. But however, Bana is very strong, so Aniruddha cannot defeat Bana. So Bana then, kind of captures him, right? Puts him in jail or captures him at that time. So all this is happening. So at the time again, Narada goes and informs the Yadavas that, look, your Aniruddha's son is missing. He's there with Bana. So then everybody then goes to fight Bana. That is the rest of the story. It's a battle between Krishna and Bana and Shiva, and everybody is going to come in this battle next. So anyway, so they all go and attack Bana. So Kanyapure Daitaya Sukhamaраmantam, Chainam Katanchana Babandhushi Sharva Bandhau Shri Naradokta Tadudanta Duranta Roshaihi. So put a visarga at the end of that line, Roshaihi. Next line is goes away. Tvam tasya shonitapuram yadubhir nyarundhaha. Kanyapure daitaya sukhamaраmantam chainam katanchana babandhushi sharva bandhau Srinaradokta tadudanta duranta roshaihi Tvam tasya shonitapuram yadubhir nyarundhaha.
Kanyapure dayitaya sukhamaраmantam chainam kathanchana babandhushi sharva bandhau Srinaradokta tadudanta duranta roshaihi Tvam tasya shonitapuram yedubhirnyarundhaha. Kanyapure dayitaya sukhamaраmantam chainam kathanchana babandhushi sharva bandhau Srinaradokta tadudanta duranta roshaihi Tvam tasya shonitapuram yedubhirnyarundhaha.
कन्यापुरे धैदया सुगमारमन्दं चैनं गदञ्जन बबुबन्धुषि सर्वबन्धौ श्रीनारदोक्ततदुधन्दतुरन्दरोषैः त्वं तस्य शोणितपुरं यदुभिर्न्यरुन्दाः.
Shanti, second line, Babandhushi.
बबन्धुषि.
Yeah.
कन्यापुरे धैदया सुगमारबन्धं चैनं कदञ्जन बबन्धुषि सर्वबन्धौ श्रीनारदोक्तददुदन्दतुरन्दरोषैः त्वं तस्य शोणितपुरं यदुभिर्न्यरुन्दाः.
That's a fine. Tune changes. Puri Pala Shaila Priya Duhitrunatosya Bhagavan Samam Bhutam Vratain Yadubalamashankam Nirurudhe Maha Prano Bano Jhatiti Yudhanena Yudhe Guha Pradyumnena Tomapi Purahantra Jagatishe. So this battle is going to go for a while, but we'll break it up. So initially, when they start attacking, Bana's kingdom, like we said, Shiva is the protector of that city and protector of the entire kingdom. So all the Bhuta Ganas and everybody of Shiva are also there to protect, and they all start fighting with the Yadavas. So the battle is going. And so this is, they kind of start sending their various commanders and all the names which are giving here. So Yuyudhana is one of them, and each of them kind of start coming and start fighting with each of those people. So I'll kind of condense 6, 7, 8 as one story, which is the battle that will happen. But anyway, the battle is beginning between them right now. Puri Palash Shaila Priya Duhitru Nathosya Bhagavan, Samam Bhuta Vratair Yadu Balam Ashankam Nirurudhe Mahaprano Bano Jhatiti Yuyudhanena Yuyudhe, Guha Pradyumnena Twamapi Purahantra Jagatishe. पुरीपालशैलप्रिय दुहितृनाथोऽस्य भगवान् समं भूतव्रातैर्यदुबलमशङ्कं निरुरुधे महाप्राणो बाणो झटिति युयुधानेन युयुधे गुहः प्रद्युम्नेन त्वमपि पुरहन्त्रा जगटिषे
पुरीपालैः शैलप्रियदुहितृनाथोऽस्य भगवान् समं भूतव्रातैर्यदुबलमशङ्कं निरुरुधे महाप्राणो बाणो झटिति युयुधानेन युयुधे गुहप्रद्युम्नेन त्वमपि पुरहन्त्रा जघटिषे पुरीपालशैलप्रियदुहितृनाथोऽस्य भगवान् समं भूतव्रातैर्यदुबलमशङ्कं निरुरुधे महाप्राणो बाणो झटिति युयुधानेन युयुधे गुहप्रद्युम्नेन त्वमपि पुरहन्त्रा झगटिषे
पुरी बालशैलप्रियदुहिरुद्रुनादोऽस्य भगवान् समं यदुबलमसङ्गं निरुदुते महाप्राणो भाणो झटिति युयुधानेन युयुधे गुहप्रद्युम्नेन त्वमपि पुरहन्तरा जगडिषे पुरी बालशैलप्रिय दुहितृनादोऽस्य भगवान् समं यदुबलमसङ्गं निरुरुते महाप्राणो बाणो झटिति युयुधानेन युयुधे गुहप्रद्युम्नेन त्वमपि पुरहन्त्रा जगडिषे.
We'll just do one more stanza, we'll do it, and then the meaning, I'll say next class, and then we'll wrap up today. So you can go to the temple, I have to go. So, Niruddha Sheshastre, double dha, Niruddha Sheshastre, Mumuhushi Tavastrena Girishe, comma, Druta, Bhuta, Bhitaha, put a F, Bhita, Pramatha, Kula, Viraha, put a F, Viraf, Pramatitaha. You can just do two lines here. निरुद्धा शेषास्त्रे मुमुहुषितवास्त्रेण गिरिशे द्रुता भूता भीताः प्रमतकुलवीराः प्रमतिताः
निरुद्धा शेषास्त्रे मुमुहुषितवास्त्रेण गिरिशे द्रुता भूता भीताः प्रमतकुलवीराः प्रमथिताः निरुद्धा शेषास्त्रे मुमुहुषितवास्त्रेण गिरिशे द्रुता भूता भीताः प्रमथकुलवीराः प्रमथिताः
निरुद्धा शेषास्त्रे मुमुहुषि दवास्त्रेण गिरिसे द्रुधा भूधा भीता प्रमदकुलवीरा
प्रमतिताः last word
प्रमदिता निरुद्धा शेषास्त्रे मुमुहुषि दवास्त्रेण गिरिशे द्रुधा भूता भीता प्रमदकुलवीरा प्रमदिता
Anga, there's a visarga at the end there. Paraskandat, skandaha, put a ich sound, skandah, kusuma shara baneishcha sachivaha, comma, sakum bhando bhandam, navamiva balenashu bibhide. Paraskandat skandah kusuma shara baneishcha sachivaha, Sakum bhando bhandam navamiva balena shubhibide.
Paraskandah kusuma sharabaneischa sachivah sakumbhando bhandam navamiva balena shubhibide. Paraskandah kusuma sharabaneischa sachivah sakumbhando bhandam navamiva balena shubhibide.
परास्कन्दः कुसुमसर बाणश्च सचिवः सकुम्भाण्डो भाण्डं नवमिव बलेना सुबिबिते परास्कन्दत्स्कन्दः कुसुमसरबाणैश्च सशिवः सकुम्भाण्डो भाण्डं नवमिव बलेनासुबिबिते.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namah. So we'll stop the class here today. सान्ध्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Bye everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Tamil New Year, Ugadi, and
Happy Tamil New Year. Happy
you.
Tamil New Year.
Bye.
Happy Tamil.
Thank you.